Welcome, everyone, to the Santa Fe Opera. My name is Susan Marino, and it is my pleasure to serve as president of the board of directors of the Santa Fe Opera. We are delighted to have our friends here today from the press and the media, members of the board of directors, staff, and special friends with us here in Santa Fe. We are also very excited to have our friends and followers from around the world joining us via Facebook Live. I'd like to add a special welcome to the Mayor of Santa Fe, Alan Weber, who's here with us, and to Cabinet Secretary of New Mexico Department of Cultural Affairs, Deborah Garcia y Griego. I'd like to start today's conference with some very exciting news. I am thrilled and delighted to declare victory for our Setting the Stage campaign. As of this morning, we have reached our $38 million cash goal, and we have exceeded our $45 million overall campaign goal. What began 4 years ago as an ambitious plan to expand and modernize our backstage and front-of-house facilities has now culminated in a successful completion of a new production center, expanded costume shop, expanded dressing rooms, an enlarged opera shop, as well as new restrooms and concessions. We are proud of the progress we have made in bringing the Crosby Theater Complex into the 21st century. And I am joined today by our campaign chairman, Susan Morris, and co-chair Chuck Moore, in extending our deepest thanks to our loyal and generous supporters for making this vision possible. While the Setting the Stage campaign has officially concluded, one of its most successful components, the seat naming campaign, will continue for the foreseeable future. The seat naming campaign has raised over $1 million, and we are absolutely delighted to be able to acknowledge our patrons and friends who have dedicated seats in the Crosby Theater on the new Avenir electronic libretto system, which is now in its final stages of installation. With an extraordinarily generous gift from the Avenir Foundation, the Santa Fe Opera has successfully developed the next generation of seat-back title technology, which has replaced the system we installed in 1999. The Avenir electronic libretto system features high-definition, full-color LCD touchscreens capable of displaying personalized messages and dedications. Our new system continues to be able to simultaneously display both Spanish and English translations on all performances. The Santa Fe Opera is proud beyond measure to introduce this new technology to the field of opera, and we look forward to showcasing its capabilities on opening night here on June 28th. Also debuting this season is the Santa Fe Opera's Pueblo Arts Collaborative. Building on the success of our 2018 Dr. Atomic production, and our partnership with the Pueblo of Tesuque, San Ildefonso, and Santa Clara, we are both excited and humbled to announce a new initiative between the three Pueblos and the Santa Fe Opera. We will work toward more creative expressions, continual presence, and collaboration between the opera and the Pueblos of New Mexico. We are just beginning the visioning process. Together, we hope to find new possibilities and collaborations to create, share, and learn from one another, both on and off the Santa Fe Opera stage. Now, it is my great pleasure to welcome the fourth and newest General Director of the Santa Fe Opera to the podium, Robert Meya.
Thank you, Sue. Good morning, everybody. The Santa Fe Opera is so fortunate to have one of the most dedicated and supportive board of directors that I have ever had the pleasure of working with. And we are all deeply grateful for the leadership of our intrepid president, Sue Marino. Thank you. My sincere thanks extend to her and all the members of the board, as well as to the press and media, and my colleagues and friends who are with us today. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to all from our artistic director, Alexander Neef, and music director Harry Bickett. The 2019 season is fast approaching. We are busy preparing for the opening weekend, which kicks off on June 28th. I believe you're all familiar with the lineup for the coming season, and I have just a few casting updates to share with you today. These are outlined in the press release included in your folder. This season, we are especially thrilled to be presenting the world premiere of Paul Reuter's new opera, The 13th Child, opening on July 27th. Former Santa Fe Opera singer-apprentice Jessica Jones will now replace Kirsten McKinnon as Lyra in these performances. McKinnon will be making her Santa Fe Opera debut as Musetta in this season's performances of La Bohème. Additional casting changes, including the substitution of Corinne Winters as Layla in this season's performances of The Pearl Fishers, have been previously announced and are included in your press releases. And now, it is my great pleasure to present the 2019 season poster featuring a work that honors the legacy of one of New Mexico's most iconic artists and highlights the dramatic landscape which forms the backdrop to our stage. Painted by Georgia O'Keeffe in 1972, I am delighted to present The Beyond. Thank you, Chris. This season's poster will be the Santa Fe Opera's first to showcase Georgia O'Keeffe, whose work has become synonymous with New Mexico for its distinctive modernist style and attention to the light and landscape that inspired her. The selection of an image from the O'Keeffe Museum's archive was inspired by this summer's performance of Letters from Georgia, which will be performed by Renee Fleming in her Santa Fe Opera debut, and was made possible by Cody Hartley, acting director of the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. Thank you. Our work with the museum is just one in a series of collaborations with arts organizations in Santa Fe this year. I would like to thank the City of Santa Fe Arts Commission for their steadfast support of our community engagement and cross-marketing programs. Over the last year, the Opera, Site Santa Fe, and the Lenzik Performing Arts Center have joined together in a marketing collaboration called Passages, Opera Across Santa Fe. We are also joined today by Irene Hoffman, Chief Curator of Site Santa Fe, where the stunning Bel Canto exhibition is underway. I encourage you to see it and take the audio tour. We're also pleased to announce that the first new opera to be commissioned through our Opera for All Voices program will have its world premiere at the Lenzik Performing Arts Center on October 26th. And here, to tell us more about that, is our Director of Community Engagement, Andrea Fellows-Walters.
Thank you, Robert, and greetings to you all. Sweet Potato Kicks the Sun is indeed the first of 4 works commissioned by Opera for All Voices, a consortium of North American opera companies committed to co-commissioning and co-producing new operatic works for audiences of all ages that bear the same artistic integrity and depth of storytelling as main stage works. Collectively, we share a commitment to social impact and the representation of diverse voices through these opera's stories, creators, artists, and audience. A full update for this initiative may also be found in your folders. This first commission, Sweet Potato Kicks the Sun, by composer Augusta Reed Thomas and librettist Leslie Dunton Downer, follows the galactic mishaps caused by the title character, Sweet Potato, and the subsequent journey to set things back on course. Featuring a wonderful cast, including acclaimed beatbox artist Nicole Paris, this work tests opera's ability to incorporate and celebrate other art forms, while also addressing the need for contemporary storytelling for modern audiences. Opera for All Voices is committed to building diversity in opera, not only in Santa Fe, but throughout the country. With an emphasis on the voices needed to relate and share story, we are focusing on whose stories we are telling, who are engaging to tell those stories, and who is the audience. With all of this in mind, The creative team for Sweet Potato was selected through a deliberative process representing the voices of the composer, librettist, stage director John De Los Santos, our dramaturg Corey Ellison, the Santa Fe Opera artistic and community engagement teams, and general director Robert Meya. On behalf of the Santa Fe Opera and Opera for All Voices initiative, I'd like to thank and acknowledge the principal education sponsor, the Melville Hankins Family Foundation, for their continued support, as well as an Opera America Innovation Grant, generously funded by the Ann and Gordon Getty Foundation and the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. And finally, if you would please, mark your calendars and plan to join us in Santa Fe at the Lindzick Center for the Performing Arts on October 26th for the world premiere of Sweet Potato Kicks the Sun. And now I'd like to return the podium to Robert Meya.
Thank you, Andrea. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the announcement of our 2020 season. You have full news releases in your folders, so I will provide just a few highlights. The 2020 season will open with Rossini's most popular comedy, The Barber of Seville, in a new production by Stephen Barlow, who last directed Tosca here in 2012. Corrado Ravaris will conduct, and we are thrilled to welcome back Emily D'Angelo as Rosina. She will be performing for us for the first time this summer in the role of Dorabella in Così fan tutte. We also welcome back tenor Jack Swanson as Almaviva. Audiences will remember his performances last summer in The Italian Girl in Algiers. Next, we are delighted to bring you Mozart's The Magic Flute in a revival of Tim Albury's acclaimed 2010 production. Music director Harry Bickett will conduct. Soprano Joelle Harvey makes her Santa Fe Opera debut as Pamina. And Audrey Luna reprises the role of Queen of the Night, which she sang here during our last performances. It's interesting to note that 4 former Santa Fe Opera apprentice singers are in this cast: Audrey Luna, Eric Faring, Matthew Di Battista, and Eric Van Henigen. On July 18th, 2020, the Santa Fe Opera will present a company premiere and the first opera by Richard Wagner to be seen on our stage since 1988, Tristan und Isolde. Zach Winocour makes his debut as stage director, and we're delighted to welcome James Gaffigan back to the podium. We are thrilled to announce the Santa Fe Opera debuts of Simon O'Neill as Tristan and Tamara Wilson as Isolde. Tamara wanted to be with us today for this announcement and sends the following video message.
My name is Tamara Wilson, and I'll be singing Isolde in Tristan and Isolde for Santa Fe Opera's 2020 season. I'm really excited to delve into this Irish princess who, you know, Irish. But the thing that's amazing about Tristan and Isolde is it's the ultimate rom-com without the com, if that makes sense. It gives you that feeling that true love exists and it's something that you would do anything for. And I think that's something that opera does really well. It gives you all the light and this Gesamtkunstwerk, the all arts encompassing love to show you what true love is like. And I think this production is going to do that very well. I'm really looking forward to how this show is going to be staged in a way that accentuates the theater and accentuates the great horizon that you have. It's love on an epic scale. Love that is so pure and true that all other parts of life are unimportant. Now, portraying that on stage is very difficult, but I think Wagner has done that through his music. He lets the audience know on a very primal level through the music going through your body that this kind of heightened love exists in our world, and it's an amazing thing and it should be cherished.
Well said. We are also thrilled to welcome back Jamie Barton as Brangena, Ryan McKinney as Kurvinal, and Eric Owens as King Marco. I would also like to acknowledge the generous financial support of Sarah Billinghurst Solomon, Jean and Jean Stark, and the Wagner Society of Santa Fe, who have made this production of Tristan and Isolde possible. Thank you. Following Tristan, we will be presenting an electrifying new production of Dvorak's Rusalka, directed by David Pountney, one of the leading international stage directors in his Santa Fe Opera debut. This will be another company premiere. In addition to leading the performances of the Magic Flute, music director Harry Bickett will be back on the podium conducting these performances of Rusalka. And we are absolutely thrilled to welcome back Eileen Perez in the title role, last appearing on our stage in our 2016 production of Romeo et Juliet. The fifth work in the 2020 season lineup will be the premiere of Huang Ro and David Henry Hwang's M. Butterfly, commissioned by the Santa Fe Opera. We are especially pleased to continue to build on Charles Mackay's extraordinary legacy of commissioning new works such as The Revolution of Steve Jobs and Cold Mountain. M. Butterfly will be the Santa Fe Opera's 13th main stage commission and 16th world premiere. Xian Zhang, music director of the New Jersey Symphony Orchestra, will conduct. We recently traveled to New York to discuss this exciting new work with composer Huang Ro and librettist David Henry Hwang, who join us today by video.
The story of M. Butterfly is a French diplomat who is stationed in Beijing in the early 1960s. He meets this beautiful, mysterious Chinese actress from the Chinese opera, and they start to have an affair. Eventually, Gallimard discovers that he's wrong about everything. Not only is it not love in the sense that this was the actress is a spy, but he's even deluded himself. He's into believing that the actress is a woman, when in fact his lover is biologically male.
M. Butterfly was the first play I ever seen. This was in my college days, and of course I know the opera Madame Butterfly, so it was quite intriguing to see a play and without the word spelled out, Madame, but it was M with a dot. Also on the poster, I remember there was an Asian actor on the poster. So that brought my attention. You know, I want to go to see a play and to support that.
It ran for 2 years on Broadway. It ran for a year on the West End. It's been produced in maybe 36 countries. And then it became a movie in the early 90s, directed by David Cronenberg. M. Butterfly is a play or a story that really works best when there is a kind of abundant theatricality and an ability for the audience to suspend disbelief, to fall into the mindset of the French diplomat, to live in that world of fantasy and self-delusion that enables this ruse to go on for 2 decades. And that's why I always felt on some level that opera would be the right form. Huang Ro, I met as a young composer. We've probably known each other at this point for 10 or 12 years. And I was really, I fell in love with his music. I thought he was incredibly talented and bringing together a variety of voices that I hadn't heard put together this way in a fashion that felt to me both sort of rigorous and accessible.
In a way, I want to go from inside out. So I want to start with the character themselves, how they perceive the world and the relationship.
One of the things that we try to do in this version of the opera is to balance the Chinese side of the story and the Western side of the story more equally.
One example I could give you is in the Puccini overture. That is of the first act. There's this famous overture. So what I did with M Butterfly is I inverted. So I turned it upside down, and then I inverted into a Chinese operatic style kind of overture. So now it becomes da 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 da. It sounds quite Pekingese opera-ish, but people who know Madame Butterfly, they could also feel, oh, that was the upside down of the Madame Butterfly.
It's been very important to me and to Huang and to Santa Fe Opera to cast the role of Sung Li-ling, the Chinese spy, authentically.
So it is not easy to find Asian countertenor, but we did find an excellent countertenor, and his name is Justin Kim. And I was introduced to him when I just first starting writing the opera. So in a way, this role was created for him.
M Butterfly has, one of the reasons maybe it's been able to survive as long as it has and grow and evolve is because there are so many layers to this story. And doing an opera version really just adds another kind of glorious level to the experience.
I would like to acknowledge the generous support of the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation in the development of M Butterfly, as well as the Arete Foundation and Betsy and Edward Cohen for their support of this production. And without further ado, I am pleased to announce that tickets for the Santa Fe Opera's 2020 season are now on sale. Please visit our website or call our box office to secure your tickets. I would like to conclude today's announcement with an exciting look even further into the Santa Fe Opera's future. In the 2021 season, we will be presenting our third world premiere in the lineup. Following the 2019 world premiere of The 13th Child and the 2020 world premiere of M Butterfly, the Santa Fe Opera has commissioned a new work by composer John Corigliano and librettist Mark Adamo titled The Lord of Cries. Anthony Roth Costanzo, one of the leading countertenors in the world, sings the lead role of Dionysus. The creative team and the rest of the casting will be announced at our 2021 season announcement. And now, to tell you a little more about this exciting new work, which is inspired by Bram Stoker's Dracula and the Bacchae of Euripides, I am delighted to present a message from John Corigliano and Mark Adamo.
I had been asked to think about Dracula for the Opera House some years ago, and read the novel and was utterly flummoxed by what to do with the title character. And I thought, maybe this is actually not about the vampire. Maybe it's about the repression of the title characters. And I was at about that point in thinking about the piece and was talking to Bill Hoffman, who was the only other member of the John Corigliano Opera Librettist Club. And he said, how is Dracula coming? And I said, not well, but I have this thought about that. And he said, well, you're writing the Bacchae. You're writing the Euripides Bacchae. Did you know that? And I thought, actually, if you restore the Euripides template, if you essentially tell the story of the Bacchae with the characters of Dracula, that because the Victorian England of Dracula is more familiar, I think, to a contemporary American audience than the Thebes of Euripides is, it brings the themes of the play closer to us even than the original does. This had been something that I was going to compose the score for as well as the libretto. And I remember the day before I was submitting it to the company I was talking to, saying to John, I really think I'm onto something here dramatically, but musically I'm going to have to do somersaults, not to do a fake Corigliano score, because this has got you all over it. Everything you do well is what this piece needs.
My music basically in opera and is based upon the need for fantasy. I don't really find it possible to think of opera in the realistic terms that many composers do. For me, the whole idea of opera is the idea of the fantastic and then the real and the fantastic playing a little dance with each other. And luckily, with Mark's idea of wedding the Bacchae to the Dracula legend, we deal with the world of the gods, this incredible, huge, unbelievably unexpected world of the immortals, the gods, and then the world of Victorian London.
Euripides specified in the original play that the god Dionysus had this rather androgynous allure because part of what he represents is the slippage of boundaries. The fact that you can try to put things into categories, but human nature will keep stubbornly eluding those categories.
The whole point of Dionysus is he could be either male, female, he was licentious, he was this, he could be sly, and then he could be incredibly savage. We felt that Dracula needed to have an androgynous, unearthly sound. And of course, to me, that was the countertenor.
I've been a huge fan of his music and never felt like I got to sing it in such a meaty and incredibly cathartic way as this piece allows. The character of Dracula is a very complex character. In many ways, he's vulnerable. In many ways, he's inhuman. And in other ways, of course, he's incredibly violent and has these moments of rage. And as a countertenor, the otherworldliness is kind of built in. But what you can't take for granted is that fearsome quality.
Until you sit in an audience and you feel the people reacting to your opera, you really never know what the thrill is of writing for opera. I very much look forward to being able to sit in Santa Fe and hear it with the audience.
John is one of the great living composers, and to be able to be a part of this premiere at one of America's greatest opera companies is something that's truly thrilling.
I hope you're all looking forward to the Santa Fe Opera's 2020 season and beyond. I encourage everyone to purchase tickets early, and I'd like to remind our in-state residents that first-time ticket buyers will receive a 40% discount by calling the box office. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and I look forward to seeing all of you at the Santa Fe Opera this summer.